All right now in the 5 series, we're gonna get super niche, right? Super niche, and we're gonna look at 5 records I love that have great screams, right? Sometimes I look for great screams on a record. I love the carnal quality of it, a good scream. But anyway, let's get into it. Rolling Stones, Beggar's Banquet. On this album, there's a track called Stray Cat Blues, and on that track, Mick Jagger, who's a great screamer. Um, there's a line where he says it's not a hanging offence, it's not a capital crime, and he goes, "Oh yeah," which is really a shout, but it comes across as a scream. And he goes, "You're a great stray cat, or you're a stray cat," and he screams it, but he's vocalizing it too. So it's kind of a hybrid of shout and scream, but I put it in the scream category just to big up the Rolling Stones, one of my favorite rock group, well, my favorite rock group of all time. And Mick Jagger's done some legendary screams on other tracks too. Suicide, Frankie Teardrop. This is a well-known album. I'm not sure if it's post-punk or no wave or early synth. People really get finicky about genres, especially around this period. I just know that it's a great album. There's a track called Frankie Teardrop, which is 10 minutes long, and it just bubbles along. It rides along. It's a groove. And in the last couple of minutes, it's just a disruptive scream that just jumps on this track, and somebody is just screaming. And I always forget that it's on there, and it throws me off when it comes on, and I have to turn the record down. But it kind of makes the record in a way. It just suits this record, which is a disruptive one of one type record anyway. Suicide, legendary album. Next up, James Brown. Now come on, you can choose hundreds of screams by James Brown. It's just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, the king of the scream. I just chose Down and Out in New York City, one of my favorite James Brown tracks. And there's a line in there where he goes, I give you a shine, give me a shine, boy, for a dime, boy. Whatever the exact line is. But after that, he just lets out a scream, followed by 2 more screams, but it just makes sense in a way that only James Brown could do it. So I'll put this James Brown scream on there just because it's 3 screams for the price of 1. Come on now. Next up, we've got Saturday Night Fever. We've got Disco Inferno is on here. Disco Inferno by the Tramps. It's an overlooked record because it's on this pop juggernaut of an album, which is also overlooked. And at the beginning of the third verse, the final verse, the lead singer lets out this guttural scream before he goes into the third verse. I just love it. I think that's my favorite scream. I've got to say it. On Disco Inferno by the Tramps is my favorite scream because he lets you know, don't get it twisted. I'm doing this gospel, I'm doing this disco thing, but I come from the roots. I come out of gospel. I'm going to hit you with that soul. And the only way that he could do it is by letting out a guttural scream that just rocks your very core. Big up to that track. Might be my favorite disco track of all time. Yeah, I said it. And anyway, Bobby Womack, the poet. Bobby Womack, one of the great screamers. There's a track on here called If You Think You're Lonely Now, which is one of the greatest soul tunes of all time. He has a line, I think it's at the end of, between the first and second verse, he has a line where he talks about skeletons coming out of the closet and chase you all around the room. And he goes, ooh, and then he lets out this scream, which is a soulful scream. It's not over the top, it's just a soulful scream that totally makes sense. And Bobby Womack totally makes sense. One of my favorite soul artists. And we make sense because we're Hi-Fi Recluse is the name of the group, and Good Fine Records is the name of the label. And these are 5 tunes that have my favorite screams, or some of my favorite screams on them. Peace.